Good morning. Happy Wednesday. So we are halfway through the week, right? Super exciting. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Brianna Anninger, and I am passionate about empowering and inspiring people just like you to truly wake up and live. So today we are going to talk about acts of service. This is very important to me because this is my primary love language. So I love this chapter. Good morning, George. Good morning, Amanda. So if you are catching this live, go ahead and comment 1. And if you are watching the replay, go ahead and comment 2. And maybe if you have a spouse or if you know somebody that their love language is acts of service, go ahead and invite them to this broadcast because you don't want them to miss what we're going to talk about today. Good morning, Melissa. So, acts of service. What is acts of service, you may ask? Well, acts of service is where you do things maybe around the house. That's like one of probably the most common is like maybe doing the dishes, or it's taking out the trash, or it's vacuuming the laundry, putting laundry away, getting the kids dressed in the morning, maybe making your morning breakfast or your routine. Kathy, hi! Thanks for joining live. So, yes, so that is what the acts of service. And the reason why they are very important to spouses is it truly shows an expression of love. And so for me, one of the things when Mike takes the time, especially when he comes home, because, you know, he's gone for periods of time and then comes home. And he is very creative in some of the ways. For those of you that don't know, I am on a wonderful nutrition system. And he sets it out for me when he comes. So when I wake up, it's right there for me. So that is like an acts of service for me. Something else that he has done that really touched me, and these are just small things, but it makes it fills my love tank when he does those small things. So one of them is the gas in the car, right? So how many of you guys can relate to maybe your spouse or someone taking the car and then leaving the tank empty? Very frustrating, right? Especially if your love language is acts of service. So one of the times I remember that I took my car to work, and Mike took my car, like we swapped cars, like he had the keys. And he went and he got the car washed. He went and filled the gas tank. And it was like he took the car like to get the oil changed or something. But when I came out of work, my car would look like a brand new car. And my gas tank was actually filled. So it's kind of funny because we talk about the love language of filling our gas tank. Well, he actually filled my gas tank of my car. But it filled my personal gas tank too. So those are just some examples of what Mike has done that really like touched me, okay? And I want you to think about something like I put in the description about nagging. So a lot of times when our primary love language is acts of service, a lot of times we can become more nagging. And that was one of my fears, like when I got married, that I was like, I don't want to be that nagging wife. And so it was really hard for me to open up to Mike and to tell him like what I needed. And I didn't even know my love language was acts of service before reading the book, like years ago. And then I'm rereading it, the military version, and I'm learning so much more. Because when we read something, we read it to kind of just get the picture. And then when we read it again, it's like we read it for the understanding. Because we change as people. So I really encourage you that if you've read the book, go ahead and read it again. Or if there's a book maybe that you have read. That's not the 5 love languages, but I really encourage you to sit down and take some me time and really read the book again, and you'll notice how much more that you absorb, because it's just how your mind works. Our minds are so fascinating, right? So going back to my fear of being a nag, I didn't want to be that nagging wife. And so I sat down and I talked to Mike, and I was like, Mike, there are some things around the house that I really feel like I need you to do, but I don't want to be that nagging wife. So how can I tell you that I need things done without you feeling like you're being nagged? And the awesome thing about Mike is that he is very open-minded. That's one of the things I'm very thankful for him, is that he really wants me to communicate my feelings, and he understands about me being more introverted, that it's harder for me to share my feelings. So when I do share my feelings, it's like he really listens. So Mike, if you're watching this, thank you. So yes, so communicating that, and I really loved how the book said it. Instead of looking at it as nagging, look at it as tagging. So I was like, that kind of, I'm reminded of Facebook, right? Because when we see a funny video or we see a post, what do? We tag our loved ones, right? And our friends. And it just shows that, hey, this is important to me. Like, look at this. I love this. Whether it be like, Tiffany, I know she loves Harry Potter. So if there's anything that I see on my news feed that is Harry Potter, I'm going to tag her. So the same thing with our spouse, that if there is something that we need something, or they're telling us that they need something, look at it as that we're tagging them. We're tagging them and telling them how important it is for them to do something for us, okay? And if you have that understanding with your spouse, you sit down and you talk to them and you say, hey, this is important to me, so if I do mention it, please don't think about it as me nagging you. It's just, I want to communicate that this is important and that I really need your help to do this, okay? So if you like that idea, go ahead and comment 3. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is if your spouse starts to talk about, like, the laundry is piling up, or the grass, I know, Amanda, you can relate to this, right? That the grass is piling up, and so they own a lawn service. So if you guys need any lawn care, definitely reach out to Amanda Lopez here in North Carolina. Her and her husband do an awesome job of lawn care. So I'm just reminded of that. If the grass is too high, like, would an access service would be hiring somebody to take off that load from the spouse? That's still considered an active service. Maybe you personally can't do it because of your job or just timing, but hiring somebody maybe to come in to clean the house, just something to take off that load of that spouse, that their love language is access service. So with that if you notice your spouse saying a lot over a thing, like, take out a piece of paper and start writing them down for 2 weeks, okay? And then what I want you to do is do one access service a week that is on that list, okay? Bonus points if you do more, but sometimes we have to start out small to have the accomplishment. I love this thing I learned from my coach, Sonia, that she talks about you want to set the bar low, right? Because if you set the bar low, your belief that you can get over that bar. So the same thing, that if it's challenging for you to do things of access service for your spouse, set that bar kind of low, right? And do one access service a week. I guarantee you that it will give love to your spouse. It may not fill the tank all the way, but every little bit counts, okay? And I want you to think about it is that doing the access service for your spouse means more than 1,000 roses, okay? So if your spouse is acts of service, instead of going out and buying roses and flowers, because maybe their love language isn't gifts, right? That doing that act of service, especially if it's something that they have said that it bothers them or they need it done, it means more to them than roses, okay? The next thing that I thought was really nice, especially if your spouse is deployed or gone long periods of time and you have kids, to have them, or at bedtime, you record yourself reading to your kids a bednight story, and then send it to your spouse. Because not only will that make that spouse feel connected, but it also shows the spouse that you're taking care of the home when they're not there, and it helps them stay connected to their kids too. So I thought that was a really awesome suggestion. And then the last thing also, if you have kids and your spouse is gone for periods of time, even if they're gone only for the day and come back at night, and your spouse is acts of service, is that have your kids help do an acts of service. So then when the spouse comes in, they open the door and you're like, surprise, we love you. And then you say what acts of service you do. I loved it. I was like, that is so cute. So those are, oh, and one more time, one more on my notes here, is that instead of doing a honey-do list, if your spouse is gone for periods of time, take the initiative and try to fix it yourself. And I know some things like for instance, something might be too heavy for you. Like maybe find something that you can enlist for help, so when your spouse does come home, they don't have that extra stress that you've done it, okay, for them. So those are my tips from our book, The 5 Love Languages, and this is the military edition. And I really loved it. It was a really good chapter. I mean, I believe all the chapters are good, but of course, you know, because it being my primary love language, it really spoke to me. And I really loved all the suggestions, and there's so much more suggestions in the book, so you need to go buy it yourself and read it, especially if your spouse is that acts of service, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this broadcast, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and tomorrow we're going to talk about physical touch and why it's important to our spouse, okay? So I hope you have a great day. Remember, you're halfway through the week. We're almost there. Friday is coming. And I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.